the man who played his country. London, after a lifetime of baffling upward mobility and national-scale freeloading, Nigeria's former president, Muhammadu Buhari, has finally checked out of the buffet of public life, dying peacefully in London, a city he visited more often than Lagos hospitals. Born in 1942 in Dora, young Buhari's academic performance was so poor that even his report cards begged for mercy. In school, he reportedly wrestled more with basic arithmetic than he ever did with corruption. While his classmates were chasing certificates, Buhari was building something far more durable, a career based entirely on connections, confusion, and a curious military enrollment process that somehow accepted a student with no notable academic achievement. Yet, like a goat that refuses to respect the boundaries of a neighbor's garden, Buhari somehow scaled every fence placed before him. From military barracks to the highest seat of power, the man never really clocked out of public payroll. It's a classic Nigerian tale: enter with little, leave with plenty, and never really explain how. Rising to the rank of general in the Nigerian army, reportedly through sheer stubbornness and an unmatched talent for delegation, Buhari first seized power in 1983 through a military coup. His government quickly introduced the War Against Indiscipline, which punished everything from arriving late to chewing gum like it was a felony. Ironically, discipline never quite applied to public funds under his watch. Ousted after just 20 months, by another soldier who perhaps thought Buhari was doing too much or too little, the jury's still out, one would think he'd quietly retire to a farm somewhere to ponder his life choices. But not Buhari. Like Wi-Fi in a government office, slow but always present, he kept bouncing back. In 2015, after 3 failed attempts at presidency, which many saw as God's way of saying, "Not you, sir," Nigerians, tired of stealing with style, decided to try suffering with simplicity. And so Buhari, the reluctant messiah of anti-corruption, was elected democratically. For 8 years, the country experienced what many now refer to as Buharism, a state of national paralysis where nothing worked, and nobody was quite sure who was in charge. During his tenure, Nigeria's economy stumbled, insecurity soared, and the president often vanished, sometimes for months, only to be spotted in photos reading newspapers from 1982 or resting in London with mysterious illnesses no one could ever pronounce. Yet, despite all odds and outrage, Buhari mastered the art of staying alive and well-funded. After leaving office, his medical bills, travels, and likely his tea and biscuits continued to be paid by the very nation whose youth had little access to jobs, hope, or steady power supply. While many citizens couldn't afford paracetamol, Buhari was on a first-name basis with Harley Street specialists. Critics say that under his rule, especially in the southeast, death became a daily news item. Yet the man himself lived to a ripe old age, proving once and for all that karma, too, might be stuck in Nigerian traffic. To his credit, Buhari never ran a business, started a foundation, or gave a TED Talk. In fact, his contribution to intellectual discourse was so minimal that AI still refuses to learn from his speeches. But in a nation where public service often means personal gain, Buhari was perhaps the most consistent of all. He took, he stayed, and he smiled. In the end, Muhammadu Buhari will be remembered not for what he built, but for how he managed to thrive in a system he did little to fix. His life was a masterclass in doing the bare minimum and getting the maximum return. Rest in peace, General. Nigeria may not miss you, but the Federal Treasury sure will.